Why does acne happen?
So one big misconception, when I was growing up and I had really bad acne,
Maria Marlowe, also known as the Acne Nutritionist. She's helped thousands of people across the world clear their skin naturally in under 90 days.
we need the sun. It's good to expose your skin to the sun without sunscreen necessarily. Instead of snacking on sweets in the middle of meals, we save sweets for the end of meals, and that helps to keep your blood sugar more.
Now there's so many women dealing with adult acne. What is the cause for this?
There's so many factors in our modern life that can take a toll on our hormones.
What are 3 things someone can do daily to help with gut health?
Supplements are meant to be a supplement. They are not like some magic thing where they're going to just make your life perfect. With the stretch marks, I think making sure that you're having enough collagen-rich foods.
Does intermittent fasting help the skin?
Sometimes intermittent fasting can do more harm than good. Just drinking water is really not going to be enough.
And I saw you posted something about being able to reverse gray hair through your food. How is that possible?
In some cases, you can actually reverse gray hair through proper nutrition.
It's mind-blowing. So
What is the biggest lie the skincare industry has told us?
I know this is controversial, but
Let's be honest, no one really talks about acne. We're either hiding it with makeup, slathering on 6 products at night, or pretending it's not a big deal and it happens to everyone. But for millions of people, acne isn't just a skin issue. It's a confidence killer, it's a mental health spiral, and a daily war with the mirror. So today, we're doing a deep dive into the real reasons your skin might be freaking out and how to fix it. I have here with me Maria Marlowe, also known as the Acne Nutritionist. She's a certified holistic nutritionist, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. She's helped thousands of people across the world clear their skin naturally in under 90 days. And today, she's spilling all her secrets here. Welcome, Maria, and thank you so much for being here with me.
thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to actually take it back to the basics. Why does acne happen?
Oh, well, there are a lot of possible reasons,
Yes,
but
yes.
the root cause is inflammation. So
Okay.
one big misconception, when I was growing up and I had really bad acne, at the time, everyone talked about bacteria, acne causing bacteria. And so we would scrub our skin to try to get rid of the bacteria. It's even very common to be prescribed antibiotics when you have acne, but it turns out that acne is actually caused by inflammation. And so
Okay.
if we want to get rid of acne, we need to find the source of inflammation. So it could be coming from nutrient deficiencies. It could be coming from inflammatory foods,
Okay.
gut issues, stress even. So
Okay.
there's many different causes of inflammation. So it's a matter of figuring out for each individual person what is causing inflammation for them.
And how do you find that out?
Well, it's a matter of typically when I'm working with clients, I ask a lot of questions
Okay.
and I like to learn about their health, their lifestyle, their daily habits, and of course their diet and see what they're actually eating. And sometimes it could be really simple. Sometimes people will come to me and be like, I eat quite healthy, but I'm still breaking out. Well, maybe they're not eating enough of certain foods, so they're deficient in a certain nutrient, like for example, omega-3. Omega-3 is commonly found in seafood and in seeds like flaxseed, chia, or hemp. So if you're not eating a lot of these foods on a daily basis, you may not be getting enough omega-3. So sometimes it's little tiny tweaks like that where it's just adding something in. Other times it could be trying to better understand their gut health because the gut actually plays a huge role in our skin.
Yes.
So
It's something I've recently discovered.
yeah, it's actually the science on the gut-skin connection is really fascinating. So the 2 dermatologists that kind of set the foundation for what we now call the gut-skin connection were looking at this 100 years ago. And they noticed that their acne patients tended to be more stressed than their non-acne patients. And they hypothesized that stress could actually disrupt the gut, and that disruption would create inflammation in the body, which would then show up on the skin.
Oh my God.
It's quite crazy when you realize everything is all connected. We tend to separate things and think just about our skin, but the reality is your skin is a reflection of your thoughts, it's of your gut, it's of your nutrition. It's really everything is connected in our body.
Okay. Very interesting. Everyone says drink more water for better skin. Is this just a myth? Is it the most generic kind of law out there, or does it really help?
Well, we definitely need water. We for sure need water. Our body is mostly water. But oftentimes, like if you have acne, just drinking water is really not going to be enough. One thing is water can definitely help with digestion and elimination. This is really important. So those dermatologists that I mentioned earlier, who are kind of the forefathers of the gut-skin connection
Yes.
theory, they noticed also that acne patients tend to be more constipated. And when you're constipated, that also contributes to hormone imbalance, and your body is just not getting rid of the toxins and the waste that it needs to eliminate. And so that can end up showing up on our skin in terms of eruptions. So simply getting your bowel movements more regular can actually also be really helpful in terms of in reducing acne as well. So water can help with that. If you're eating a lot of dry foods and becoming more constipated, then adding water can help in that department. But water is helpful, but it is not like the magic, secret solution. If you just drink more water, that's not going to solve all your problems.
Can you tell us, so you've worked with a lot of people and kind of helped them with their skin journey. Is there a crazy story where you saw that transformation kick in?
Yeah, well, I will say that with food changes, you can actually start to see changes in 3 days. I'm serious. 3 days, you can start to see changes. If you're eating a pro-inflammatory diet and you switch to an anti-inflammatory diet that's full of nutrient-dense foods, within 3 days, you're going to start to see your inflammation go down, the redness go down, the bumps go down. Your skin is not going to be 100% clear, but it will be significantly improved. And that often gives people the encouragement to keep going. And typically for most people, within 30 to 90 days, you can clear your skin.
And what is that diet looking like?
So first, it's a lot of nutrient-dense foods. So it's making sure that we're eating all of our vitamins and minerals, as well as our macronutrients. We're getting enough protein, enough healthy fat, and enough complex carbs. So that's part of it. The second part is keeping our blood sugar stable. So this doesn't mean that we can never eat dessert or sweet things. Of course not. It's just we're smart about it. So instead of snacking on sweets in the middle of meals, we save sweets for the end of meals, and that helps to keep your blood sugar more balanced. Or just the way that we combine our plate. In the US, and I was guilty of this before, sometimes our plate would just be carbohydrates. Like if you just eat a big plate of pasta or a huge sandwich or something like that, where it's basically just carbohydrates, there's no protein, there's no vegetables. We need to shift that, because that is just not great for your blood sugar. So keeping your blood sugar stable, that's really important. And getting variety, also nourishing the gut. So a lot of times with skin issues, this includes psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, and of course acne, is starting in the gut. So what the science shows is that acne patients tend to lack certain good bacteria in the gut, specifically the lactobacillus and the bifidobacteria strains. And so when we add those strains back in, that helps to improve the function of the gut and improve regularity, get rid of bloating also, and it actually can help to clear the skin from within. And so it is important that we are nourishing the gut. So we do that through both fermented foods, traditionally fermented foods.
And fiber.
Fiber, exactly. Fiber is very important for nourishing the gut and fueling the bacteria. So the fiber actually acts as the food or the fuel for the probiotics, for the good bacteria in the gut. So it's very important.
I'm trying to stay on track.
Yes. So it's important we're nourishing the gut. And that's kind of the bulk of it. It's eliminating or reducing processed foods. Not that you can never have processed foods, but we just want to make that the minority and not the majority of the diet.
So what about hormonal acne? This is not something that I think women were dealing with so much before. But I think now there's so many women dealing with adult acne. What is the cause for this?
Well, there are a lot of causes, and you bring up a good point that today people are struggling with acne more now than ever before. And if we look historically and even cross-culturally, like acne was not as big of an issue as it is now. And I think it has to do with a few things in terms of hormonal acne. I think we're a lot more stressed, and stress affects our hormones. I think that we are exposed to a lot more chemicals. There are a lot of different, whether it's in our personal care products or our home cleaning products or whatever it is, these can all disrupt the hormones.
Yeah.
Our food. We tend to, when we're really busy, we tend to reach for more sugary foods or less nutritious options, which can take a toll on it. If we're not sleeping well, that can take a toll on our hormones. So there's so many factors in our modern life that can take a toll on our hormones. And surprisingly, I need to bring it back to the gut. Our gut, if you're constipated, that can actually contribute to hormonal acne and hormonal issues, because the way that the body gets rid of excess hormones is actually through the stool. So if you're not eliminating regularly, daily, then those hormones that were broken down can actually get reabsorbed into the bloodstream and contribute to imbalances.
What are 3 things someone can do daily to help with gut health?
So number 1 would be to be active, because movement actually just helps with that.
Oh my God, but we're just like, even me, I'm just on my laptop, I'm on my phone.
I know it's hard.
I
Even
know.
if you can just walk, maybe it's just 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes before bed, or, 10 minutes after a meal. It doesn't have to be a whole exercise class for 60 minutes, but try to add some movement into your day. That can help. Secondly, a big thing would be to reduce our sugar intake.
Okay.
Because refined sugar is not great for our gut. It actually kills off some of the good bacteria, and then the more pro-inflammatory bacteria can proliferate. So we don't want that. And then thirdly, we want to be taking in probiotics. So whether that's through fermented foods daily, and that could include things like pickles, yogurts, or miso, for example. There's so many different fermented foods that we can eat, or taking a probiotic supplement, because we need to replenish those good bacteria in one way or another. There's so many things in our daily lifestyle, modern lifestyle, that kind of deplete our gut bacteria. We really need to make sure that we're replenishing them.
Do you think supplements like probiotics and so many others, is it just a trend, or do they really?
They really work? No, absolutely not. It's definitely not a trend. Now, of course, there's different degrees of quality, I think, amongst supplements. But the science on probiotics is really, really fascinating. And we're starting to really explore specific strains and see how different strains play a role in our body, in our skin, our immune system, and so much more. So I do think that supplements are meant to be a supplement. They are not like some magic thing where they're going to just make your life perfect, if you just add that
Or
in.
a TikTok trend.
Yeah, exactly. You still want to have a healthy diet and healthy lifestyle, but they are a good supplement to help you reach your goals, or to improve a certain area of your health.
What do fermented foods do? And how are they helping our skin? Like yogurt, then there's
Pickles.
pickles.
Yeah,
How does
any
it help
type of
us?
pickles. So anything that is fermented, they're going to have bacteria. They're going to have these good, friendly bacteria that proliferate in our gut and also in other areas of our body. So there's, we call it the microbiome. So the gut microbiome is
Yes.
home to all different sorts of bacteria and microorganisms that actually help us digest our food. And they help with so many different aspects of our health. They help support our immune system. They help with inflammation. But we also have a microbiome in our mouth, and even on our skin, there's a microbiome. So we need these friendly bacteria. They are really a part of the human body, and we could not really exist healthfully without them. So we do want to make sure that we are replenishing them, and these fermented foods help us to replenish them. So the fermented foods have the probiotics, and they also have fiber. So they have the fiber that serves as the food for the probiotics once they're in your body. So it is really important that we are having fermented foods daily, at least an ounce. That's what you want to kind of aim for. And if you can't, then that's when you want to consider supplementing. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I'm obviously going to talk about skin more generally and not just acne, because I think, like you mentioned, there's so many issues. So a family member has psoriasis, and I know they've been recommended to be gluten-free, right? So is there a very direct connection,
Yes.
or is this a very generalized statement?
So with psoriasis is considered an autoimmune disorder. And with autoimmune conditions, typically there is some level of what's called increased intestinal permeability, which is also known as leaky gut. And what that just means is that so if you think of your gut as a tube, The tube is supposed to keep the contents, of your, inside the food, for example, the digested food inside your gut, and then just really the vitamins and minerals are supposed to go out into your bloodstream. What happens when you have increased intestinal permeability is that now undigested food particles and toxins and bacteria can leak into the bloodstream. When they're not supposed to be there. That creates inflammation, and that inflammation can show up on your skin. For some people, it shows up as psoriasis. So where gluten comes in, gluten has been shown to increase intestinal permeability. For many, many people, it increases it to such an extent that it can create problems with inflammation, inflammatory disorders, skin disorders, or other. And what I always tell people is that our ailments are blessings in disguise. Like psoriasis, acne, even if you have PMS, whatever it is, you need to really look at this as a blessing in disguise because it's your body's way of communicating with you. And hopefully you'll use that communication to dig a little bit deeper. Oftentimes, with Western medicine, when we go to the doctor, they just want to put a Band-Aid approach, just take a pill or kind of address the symptoms without really looking deeper and saying, okay, well, why is this happening? Why do you have these symptoms? And then addressing those reasons why to really get to the root of the issue. So really, whatever you're struggling with now, whether it's skin issue or some other health issue, if you change your mindset and think about it as a blessing in disguise and what is my body trying to tell me, go a little bit more holistic, try and find the root cause, your body can heal just about anything.
That's so interesting. I've never thought about it like that. What should you absolutely be eating every day for good skin?
Definitely dark leafy greens.
Okay.
So anything you like, whether it's kale, chard, spinach, broccoli, moringa, I've been having a lot of
And
lately.
do you have the powder form or do you have fresh moringa?
I like it fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I think fresh is always nice.
And how do you eat it?
So I've been putting it in soups, just the
Okay.
leaves, the moringa leaves in soups. Moringa is incredibly nutritious. I know this is very common in Indian cuisine. Yes. So I just put it into soups. I know that you can also do it as a curry, which I've attempted, but it didn't come out very good.
Okay, I'll send you some.
Yeah, I need a recipe.
But it's got an intense taste, right?
Yeah.
So kind of
in a soup, it's not so bad,
Yeah, okay.
you can't taste it so much. So anyway, so dark leafy greens, I think every day. And just for your other greens, I think the simplest way to eat them is to just saute them with garlic and olive oil and add a little salt, and it's yummy. So definitely dark leafy greens. Any sort of bright orange fruits or vegetables, things like carrots, sweet potato, pumpkin, etc. These are going to be a source of beta-carotene, which our body converts to vitamin A, which is really important for clear skin. Vitamin A helps with cell turnover. So that's really important. Fish, omega-3 rich fish is really important for clear skin and even for hydration of our skin because omega-3 is in the membrane, like our cell membranes. And if we don't have enough omega-3, they can become a little bit leaky and dry. So even with very dry lips, sometimes it could just be not enough omega-3. So omega-3, so that includes things like wild salmon, anchovies, sardines. And I also love cod liver oil. I don't know. Yeah, if you've ever taken that.
I'm vegetarian.
Oh, you're vegetarian.
Yeah.
Okay. So cod liver oil has omega-3, vitamin A, vitamin D. So as a vegetarian, it's really important to have flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts.
Which is actually my next question because almost 39% of Indians are vegetarian.
Yes.
So
yes. So vegetarians,
and how do they get their omega-3?
So omega-3, if you're vegetarian, you definitely want to make sure you're having seeds.
Okay.
Like the flax, chia, hemp seeds, walnuts are also a good source of omega-3. Some dark leafy greens also have omega-3, like purslane, for example, is a type of green that is pretty high in omega-3.
Okay.
So you want to make sure you're getting your omega-3. You can also they have these like algae, so like seaweed can be high in omega-3 as well.
Great, yeah.
Seaweed is also a superfood. It is so rich in different minerals. So I try to encourage people to eat seaweed on a regular basis because it just has such a wide variety of minerals.
And seaweed is the wrap around the sushi, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
But there's many different types. So that's nori, but there's all different types that you can make like into a salad, or there's just so many actually different ways to use
seaweed crackers as
well.
Seaweed
crackers. They even have roasted seaweed sheets like as a little snack. I like to roll avocado. Like you can just take the sheet and put avocado in there. It's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you believe in food grouping? Like combining different types of foods, and then is that helpful as a concept?
So what I like to think of, like I call it the healthy plate ratio or the ideal plate ratio, which
Okay.
is when you think, because when we're eating on a plate, right? So you want about half of your plate to be veggies, and that could be any veggies you like, cooked any way you want or raw. And then you want about a quarter of your plate to be protein. So that could be plant-based or it could be animal-based. And then that other quarter of your plate could be some sort of complex carb. So maybe it's, wild rice or, maybe it's a starchy vegetable like sweet potato or whatever, and some healthy fats on top. So maybe you drizzle olive oil on top, or you put some nuts and seeds on top, or avocado, whatever. And when you get all the different those foods into your plate, you're kind of automatically ensuring that you're having a balanced diet and getting a variety of nutrients and making sure you're getting enough protein and you're getting enough fiber and you're getting enough healthy fat when you think of it like that.
So how do you eat pizza, chocolate, ice cream and not break out?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, actually, there are some tricks. You know
Okay.
what? Okay. Because listen, I love I'm Italian, so I go to Italy
Oh,
and
okay.
I like to have a slice of pizza. I like to
Just a
indulge.
slice?
Well, probably a few more than a slice. But what I would do first, you want to eat your vegetables. So the fiber from the vegetables, it actually coats your intestines so that you don't absorb so much of the sugars when you're eating them. So first, start with a salad or start with some veggie starter, something, okay? Then eat your protein. So whatever that is for you, and then you have the pizza or the pasta. And when you do it that way, it actually helps to keep your blood sugar more stable instead of going on that crazy up and down roller coaster.
Okay. Is there any foods that someone should definitely avoid if they're having acne or skin issues of any kind?
I would say you want to be mindful of vegetable oils. So vegetable oils are
Okay.
found in a lot of foods,
Okay.
like things like corn oil, soy oil, canola oil, etc. These are very high in omega-6 fats, which increase inflammation in the body. So we are going to eat them from time to time, especially if we're eating out or we're eating any packaged foods. We are going to eat them. So I don't think we need to be terrified of them, but we do want to minimize them. So
Especially at home and when we're in control of kind of what's being cooked, what's
exactly.
being
Yes,
eaten. Yeah.
exactly. So when you're at home, you're in control, use healthier oils. Like olive oil is great, coconut oil, avocado oil. These are going to be better than any of the vegetable oils.
Okay.
So I would say vegetable oils, soda. Soda's not great. Soda's not great for your skin at all. It's not great for your health. It's not great for anything. So try to avoid the soda. But then other than that, like I think there is a place to have pizza and to have, pasta and cookies and all of these things, but maybe we just upgrade them, right? We choose the healthiest version of them that are made with better ingredients, and we still prioritize our vegetables and our protein and our healthy whole foods, and we have these more once in a while versus making them the bulk of our diet.
Does intermittent fasting help the skin?
It could or it could not. It really
Okay.
depends on the individual. Especially for women, sometimes intermittent fasting can do more harm than good.
Why?
Because of our hormones. And, when we're stressed, we don't need more stress in our body, and intermittent fasting can stress us. So on one hand, intermittent fasting could be helpful because it could help to reduce inflammation and help to keep your blood sugar more stable. So on that front, it could actually be helpful. But for certain people who are very maybe high stress or who have more issues with hormonal imbalance, it's not the right strategy for them. They're going to want to make sure that they're eating 3 meals a day and getting, not stressing their body out by waiting too long in between meals.
But how much does stress really affect acne?
It does. There's some really interesting studies where researchers looked at medical students, and they would look at their skin during stressful periods, like exam periods, for example. And they found that during stressful periods, the rate of acne actually increases. So you're not going crazy if you have a big presentation or something and you're like, oh my God, how did I wake up with a big pimple on my face? It's the
Because
stress.
you brought it on.
Yeah, it's the stress.
Okay. So actually, working on your mindset could also impact your skin, right?
Absolutely. And I always say meditation is actually skincare because it reduces our stress. And,
Hmm.
when we're chronically stressed, our body is in this fight or flight state. We can't digest properly, right? We need to be in the rest and digest state to digest properly. And when we have too much stress, that's disrupting our gut, it's disrupting our digestion, it's disrupting our hormones. So it really takes a toll on everything, including our skin. So if you can just find, I know it's hard to find the 10 or 20 minutes a day to
Yeah,
meditate,
it's hard. Yeah.
it actually can help.
What is screen time and this intense amount of screen time that we kind of undergo doing to our skin?
That's a great question. There's some people who will say like the blue light is not great for, great for our skin. Um, but I think it's maybe more that we're sitting in front of the screen. So what are we not doing? We're not out in the sunshine. We're not getting, time in nature. We're not getting sunlight. I think that is maybe more of the issue because in this day and age, I think it's not really realistic to say, don't sit in front of a computer all day because that's most people have to work and
Yeah.
that's what you have to do. So I think it's how can we get around that? And I think making sure that maybe before work we get some morning sunshine, go for a short 10-minute walk, whatever it is, or after work, maybe during your lunch break, just trying to get away from the screen for a little time and taking breaks, I think is really important.
What is the one trend you wish people would stop doing when it comes to all skin issues and trying to help that skin?
Using really harsh scrubs and peels, I just don't think that is great for our skin. I think the gentler we are with skincare, it's actually the better. Because our skin, if we're making it more red and raw, like,
Hmm.
and kind of like forcing it into submission, I don't think that works. I think we need to be more gentle with our skin and allow our skin to heal, especially from the inside
But
out.
like I'm someone who loves double cleansing and it's something I swear by.
Yeah.
But do you think that's
No, I think double cleansing is okay. That's
okay?
okay. I'm talking more about using like very harsh exfoliants
Hmm.
or even like acid peels, using those a lot. I think over time that starts to actually hurt the skin barrier and create more issues down the line.
What is the biggest lie the skincare industry has told us?
That skincare is only topical. I really think that the future of skincare is internal. Of course, we need topical products, we need skincare, we need moisturizer,
Yeah.
we need cleansers. Yes, 100%. But skin has two sides. It has an outside and an inside. The inside is nourishing your skin. So you can
And the
really,
inside is also where most of it is coming from, right? Because the inflammation is
absolutely.
internal.
Yes. So inflammation, there was a really interesting study that I had read where researchers looked at women, I think in their 40s or 50s, and the women who ate more fruit, vitamin C rich fruit, actually had fewer lines and wrinkles than the ones who didn't, right? Vitamin C is very important for collagen production. So things like that, what we're eating, it is the building blocks for our skin. So definitely everything that we eat is really important for our skin. So I do think we'll see more and more kind of a focus on internal skincare and even again like the mindfulness and meditation, like that is actually skincare. And they have also I remember seeing there was a group that kind of took before and after photos of people who did, I think it was like a 30-day meditation, and the pictures, I mean, they're mind-blowing.
Oh my God.
Because we also hold the stress and things in our face, and when we can let that go, our whole face changes.
So I believe it needs to be a combination, right? And I think what currently everybody, or I think most of us are doing is just topical skincare. And we're not, like, I'm currently on a plan, on a food plan because I'm postpartum, I'm 6 months postpartum. And um, when I had my first baby, I had a really hard time coming back to my body. And this time I just felt like, I had a lot of gut issues. And this time I felt like I wanted to get it right. So I'm on a plan. But the thing is, we don't give our skin so much attention in terms of getting on a nutrition plan for our skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or ever thinking of meditation or any sort of holistic activities for our skin. But this part has been quite eye opening for me today
Yeah,
that all of that can actually contribute to skin as well.
100%.
Mhm.
And I saw an interview with Selma Hayek recently, and she was saying how her skincare, or like what she thinks has helped her skin the most, is eating collagen-rich foods. She felt like that has helped her skin. I'm sure she's done other things, but absolutely what we eat and even what we think plays a huge role in our skin.
So what should you be thinking for your skin?
Just trying not to stress. I think,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm not perfect, so I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but really not sweating the small stuff and realizing that most things are small things if you can look at it that way. So
That's also the mom mentality.
yeah, you have to.
That kicks in once you have kids.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this really does not matter.
Exactly. So yeah, I think just keeping the stress low and maintaining positivity. I think having a daily gratitude practice is really helpful for everyone, your skin or not, not for your skin, just for your life, is to just wake up every morning and take a minute or two to even just mentally think about all the things you're grateful for. It just sets you up for such a better day on a more positive note. And I think it just shifts the whole day.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in gratitude
Yeah.
and journaling, actually.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful. What is something that's a very controversial trend right now that you are quite opposed to?
I'm not a fan of the microblading on the face. I think that also we're getting rid of the skin barrier. Basically, our skin is designed to take care of itself. Yeah, we need to help it a little, wash it, but we don't need to shave everything off. And I think that is something in the long term. I don't think that's great for our skin because I think we need to really nourish the skin barrier versus trying to just like take away all our protection, basically.
If you had to give one golden rule for skin, right, is there any way to kind of, what would that be?
One golden rule for skin, keeping in mind that your skin is always communicating with you, and whatever pimple or rash or this or that, like really taking, a step back to question, okay, why is this happening? What's causing this? Sometimes it will be a topical thing, but oftentimes with these more chronic skin issues, it's an internal thing. So with that in mind, asking yourself, okay, what is my skin trying to tell me? And how can I nourish my skin from the inside out? And often that's going to start with food, healthy, whole, real foods.
So I know, Maria, that working out has really helped so many people kind of beat their acne, right? Like that fitness regime has really helped them. How is that connected?
Well, fitness can be helpful for our skin for a few reasons. When we're working out, we're sweating, so we're releasing toxins, so we're getting rid of waste products, so that's helpful. We're stimulating the lymph system. We are stimulating our circulation, so our blood can bring the nutrients to our skin. So there are definitely a few different reasons why exercise can be helpful for our skin, and I would say those are probably some of the big ones.
What about PMS? Is that connected to how our skin behaves and hormonal cycles?
Well, for sure. And again, it's kind of coming back to our diet and to our gut health. So a lot of times when people go through my acne program, they also will remark that, oh my God, my PMS went away. So PMS can be exacerbated by blood sugar imbalances, right? So if we're eating too much sugar and not keeping our blood sugar balanced, it could be exacerbated by different nutrient deficiencies. Those are kind of two big ones. So if we can keep the blood sugar stable, if we can correct any nutrient deficiencies, that can actually make a huge impact in reducing PMS. Also, and increasing regularity. Because again, with PMS, that there's that gut component. So we want to make sure we're eliminating regularly.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So what's one vegetable that you think can be a game changer for your skin?
I would say carrots. They're such a humble little vegetable, but they contain a lot of carotenoids, and carotenoids are what give carrots their orange pigment. And when we consume them, we actually store those carotenoids underneath our skin. So when we consume them regularly, studies have shown they actually give our skin a bit of a healthy glow and even like a little bit of a tan. So for someone like me who's very pale, having a lot of carotenoids in my diet at least gives me a little extra healthy boost and a healthy glow.
Okay, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And I saw you posted something about being able to reverse gray hair through your food. How is that possible?
It's mind-blowing. So Science tells us that stress causes gray hair. We know that's one of the common causes of gray hair. And there have been clinical trials that showed reducing stress can actually turn your hair back to its natural color, okay, which is mind blowing. But one area that I think is fascinating to look at is that there are certain nutrient deficiencies also associated with graying hair. It's a lot of the minerals. And so if we have nutrient deficiencies or mineral deficiencies and we add them back into the diet, we can actually start to reverse gray hair.
Oh, wow. So what would that be like? I mean, to dumb it down.
So zinc. So zinc is a really important one. Copper.
How would you add
iron.
that through your food?
Through your food. So zinc, pumpkin seeds are a really good source of zinc.
Okay.
Oysters as well. Iron is in a variety of foods and plant-based foods. It will be in like your beans and
Beetroot, yeah,
lentils and
beans.
things. Yeah. And you always want to, when you're having plant-based sources of iron, you always want to include something that has vitamin C. So maybe tomatoes or bell peppers or lemon juice, because that helps to increase your absorption of it. And so that is why, again, it's really important to have a very varied diet and be eating from all the different food groups. Your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, your whole grains, everything. We need a little bit of everything.
So, Maria, you just had a baby. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And because I know you've just gone through the pregnancy, I've just been through two myself. I know that the stretch marks is a skin concern that comes up. How did you combat that? How did you deal with the stretch marks? Do you have any, by the way?
I don't actually.
Okay.
I had a lot of issues, but that wasn't one of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, with the stretch marks, I think making sure that you're having enough collagen-rich foods or foods that help support your collagen is really important as your skin is growing and then returning back to size. So that could be things like bone broth, or, if you're vegetarian, then making sure you're eating a lot of protein-rich foods and a lot of vitamin C-rich foods so that your body can, make its own collagen. So some examples of vegetarian foods would be your beans and your lentils. Those are really important. And you can pair them with rice, for example, a whole grain, to get that complete protein. Tofu is another really good one that's actually great for skin. Those are probably some of your best sources.
And what about your delivery? Was there anything that helped you, through your labor and through your delivery?
So I did a few things. I actually had a really fast delivery for a first-time mom. I don't know how long was your first delivery?
It was an emergency C-section.
Oh, okay.
So don't ask.
Okay, sorry.
But very quick.
Yeah, okay.
Very quick. That was the one.
So yours might have been quicker
upper
than mine
hand,
then.
yeah.
So mine was, I think, about 7 hours. Yeah, which is, I think, about a third of the time. Usually a first-time mom is like 21 hours or 24 hours, something like that. And so anyway, I ate a lot of dates beforehand. So eating dates daily in your end of your third trimester is supposed to be helpful. I also had red raspberry leaf tea, which is supposed to be helpful, and I drank that through the last trimester. I think actually the dates helped the most. And that is something that a friend of mine here in Dubai, who's from Saudi, she's the one who actually recommended me to do this, because this is something that's apparently
quite popular.
Quite popular, here. Yes. And so she's the one that advised me to have dates. And I think it's like 7 dates, 6 or 7 dates, something like that.
In a day?
In a day, yeah.
Oh, what?
And it's just the last, I think, 4 weeks or so. And there are studies that looked at this and found that women who ate dates daily, they had faster, quicker labors, and they were more, they dilated more quickly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's actually blew my mind. I can't believe it's 6 to 7 a day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Maria, what's your take on hyaluronic acid? It's quite the it ingredient. It's something I've spoken about also a lot on my platforms.
Yeah, I think it depends. You want to make sure when you're using hyaluronic acid that you have water on your face first. So you could spray it first with water or like a hydrosol and then put the serum on. Or you need to make sure that your serum has water, because if you just put hyaluronic acid on your face, it can be pulling the water from the deeper layers of your skin and end up in the long term not being great for you. So it is really important that when you're using it, there is water on your skin first.
Or could actually be damaging.
Exactly.
So Maria, it's been said that sunscreen needs to be worn indoors, outdoors, everywhere, all day. What's your take on that?
I don't think we need it inside necessarily. I know this is controversial, but we need the sun. We need vitamin D. The way that our body gets vitamin D is when our skin is exposed to the sun. So I don't think that we need to avoid the sun 110%. Of course, we want to be smart about it. We don't want to just go roast ourselves and burn to a crisp in the sun, but I do think we need some sun exposure. So I think early morning and like late evening, it's good to expose your skin to the sun without sunscreen necessarily. And I do think it's really important that we eat foods that are protecting our skin from the inside. So, for
Okay.
example, tomatoes, they contain something called lycopene. And this is an antioxidant that could actually, when consumed daily, regularly for a period of like, I think a couple of months, it actually starts to build up protection in your skin. Same with carotenoids that come from the orange fruits and veggies. These build up under our skin and do offer some level of sun protection. Again, this doesn't mean that you can go, roast out there for 10 hours a day, but it is helping to support your skin's ability to withstand
So
the sun.
tomato is almost like a natural sunscreen.
Exactly.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Maria, for taking out the time and being here with us and, kind of being able to share such amazing insights. I learned so much today, so I really hope everyone who's tuning in did. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button to see more of such incredible, helpful, insightful episodes.
Thank
Super.
you so much for
Thank you.
having me.
No, of course.